Hello everyone, it's Silvia from Tarot. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm so very excited because I just received the Solara Occulto Meliora and I am so happy to have this deck. I had the I think I had the second edition, and if you follow my channel you'll know that I was kind of sorry because I trimmed it before it went out of print. And so I had no idea that it would have been so popular and going out of print, and you know, it would have become so hard to find. So I probably would not have trimmed it had I known, but you know, it is what it is. So I was so excited when I heard that there was going to be a Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter would have also included some of the cards from the Oracle from the same creator, and that was called Mercury, Salt and Sulfur, which is related to alchemy, so it's obviously very interesting for me. But let's have a look at this deck because I can't wait. It's an unboxing, so this will be, you know, you will hear me go ooh and ah about the deck. And then I have a couple of pairings in mind, and let's see how it works out. Okay, so I've just opened the box literally, and there's a special printing for backers of the Solara Occulto Meliora, Comfrey, Lamassu, Atropos and Selene, and Sol Invictus, printed on 350 GSM paper, 5 by 7 inches. Okay, I honestly don't remember what I backed. I think this may be a stretched goal. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sure, you know, the more the better. I'm quite happy to see this. Wow, this is so beautiful. I have to say, I'm the hugest fan of this type of artwork. It is whimsical, but it's perfect. It's so expressive. It's so very evocative, and because you can really tell that it's done, you know, pencil and a bit of charcoal probably. Sorry if I completely off, not my fault, sorry, but that I would love to be the artistic type and know about these things. Unfortunately, I don't. Ask me about photography and video and I'm okay to talk about that. But when it comes to this kind of media, unfortunately, I cannot draw to save my life. So this is all really beautiful to me. I can reach out when it comes to the aesthetics, but I don't actually know how to achieve something like this. I think it's pencil made, but I could be completely off. What I wanted to say is that I remember reading something about the creator and the fact that they're completely self-made, in the sense that I don't think they went to art school. Again, I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that, but and you couldn't tell, of course, because this is perfect to me. This looks perfect. I mean, if you look at the paws, for example, and you see the claws and the paws and everything, there's something very I would say realistic, but obviously this is not a real animal, but there is something realistic about the way in which this drawing has been made. So very beautiful. I love this one. Look at that. So they're cutting the rope and the horse is biting it. It's so beautiful. Gosh, I really wish I could create something like that. I can in photography, but yeah, unfortunately I'm not the artistic type. But that means that I appreciate the artistic types even more, because I'm not one of them and I know how hard it is for me. So I'm always very appreciative of the fact that in the world we have these kind of people. That is so beautiful. What else is in here? Okay, what else went through customs? I was like, I really hope there's nothing that, you know, it will be stopped at customs in Australia, because Australia stops pretty much everything at customs. You're not supposed to import anything organic, for example. So this one is custom, had opened this, but it came unopened, so obviously they didn't, but they would have probably confiscated this. So I was just a small detail when I came here many years ago, 16, 17 years ago. I had my own set of bone for the bone casting, bone throwing practice. And I had no idea, because they were all bones and they were completely clean, and there was no way there would have been any kind, you know, of parasite living in them. I mean, they were really old, you could tell. But no, it was, they were confiscated at the customs. I almost risked a fine, a huge one, because, you know, it wasn't a big set, it was just normal 6 or 7 pieces. But it was a big no-no. And I just explained that they were very old, and you know, but so they said, okay, we're not going to give you the fine. It would have been something like $1,000 back then. I mean, and it's still a lot of money even now. And they say, but we have to take this because, you know, we have to destroy it because it could have some parasite and stuff. So I'm pretty sure they would have probably confiscated this as well. So I'm so very happy that it didn't happen. And this is nothing like you wouldn't tell that there's any kind of you know, parasite or bacteria in here. So Solara Occulto perfume, oak moss, tobacco, violet leaf, juniper, patchouli, pinyon pine, eucalyptus. We got eucalyptus in Australia. Bergamot, coconut oil, herbs of rose, oak moss, black salt. Okay, let me just open it and smell it. Okay, it's one of those that you need to, okay. Oh, that smells divine. That is, so you really can tell the it smells almost tangy, probably because of the pine. You can tell the eucalyptus and the pine, but also the bergamot. And the consistency is very silky, so that comes from probably the coconut oil. Really happy about this, because I really appreciate when the creators don't just sell you, you know, they sell the deck and that's it, but they actually, you know, they personalize it. So this is it. Oh, I'm so excited. So let's get rid of the box. I'm so excited about this deck. Wow, it's a chunky one, by the way. So this is a very similar box. You will recognize the design here. Very similar to the Crimson Asteria by the same creator. So, and as a matter of fact, they have two websites, and one is Crimson Asteria Tarot. So if you want, I think, but I will link them below, but I think if you want to order this one or the Crimson Asteria, you actually can, and you have to go into the crimsonasteriatarot.com website. In any case, this is 105 card illustrated tarot deck, 22 majors, 56 minors, 27 oracle cards. I am so excited. I'm so happy about the oracle cards. The Mercury, Salt and Sulfur is one of my unicorn decks. I always wanted it, never could find it. It was selling in the Facebook groups when it went out of print for like 400 Australian dollars, which is just ridiculous if you think about it. But it's so very beautiful, and I remember seeing it. I walked through in Danny from Danny Mystics YouTube channel, and I fell in love with it, and I was like, oh, I really need it. And then, you know, I was considering paying that much money even. I mean, I was that crazy in love with it. But then I heard about a Kickstarter, and I thought, you know what, I mean, I'm just gonna wait for it. So yeah, let's go ahead and open it. So excited. So let's do this without ruining anything, hopefully. And I don't know, so I'm filming this obviously today. I just received it like 10 minutes ago. I don't know when I'm going to post this, so you probably have seen this tarot deck already in different channels, because I know that there were a fair few backers of the Kickstarter. So this is a really beautiful box, by the way, very sturdy. This is gold foil. This is also embossed. This one isn't. Very beautiful, and this is the typical art style. So if you're not familiar with the Solara Occulto, this is the typical art style. And one of my favorite cards is the Six of Swords, and I'll show you. But let's have a look, because there should be, there you go, it's also the companion book. Okay, it's not massive. Oh no. Okay, so when I received the Crimson Asteria, there were two books, one with small print like this and one with larger print. I have to say that I would have needed, even now I'm wearing my reading glasses and I'm actually struggling. Okay, that's okay, it's fine. I mean, for this tarot deck, I don't mind. It is just so beautiful. I don't mind, it's okay, it's gonna be fine. So the size, as you can tell, again, if you know the Crimson Asteria or the original Solara Occulto, is this size. However, this one, the first and the second print of this tarot deck came with very large borders. I think they were, before I trimmed them, they were like gold color and white as well. And so I trimmed them all off, and I trimmed off also the titles, because you will see it is very intuitive, so you don't necessarily need the titles to read the cards. I am so very happy that the creator went with the borderless edition, because it just looks amazing. So it's really a chunky monkey, and well, okay. So, my goodness, so big. Oh, hello there, my goodness, so beautiful. This is foil, red foil. So this is not just red foil. I don't know if you can see through the camera. It looks like red, blood red. It's really beautiful. I don't know why I started with the last card, but it just came out. So what I'm going to do, Two of Cups, let me just see, Queen of Cups. Let me just see, oh, the Six of Swords, there you go. Okay, sorry about that. I know I'm jumping ahead. It's just that this card is all the feels. I really love this Six of Swords. So very happy that they kept it the same way. What I wanted to do, because people will probably think, what are you doing, Silvia? Okay, I'm just trying to separate the Oracle card, there you go, from the tarot. So this is the Oracle cards, and we're just gonna have a look at them later. And the only reason why I'm doing that is because it actually is too big for my hands to handle. So let's have a look. I don't think there's a lot. Oh, these are the backs, by the way. Again, very similar to the Crimson Asteria, just different color, but the kind of you know, gold foil is the same. It feels very smooth, by the way. I don't think it's gonna the quality is very good, so I don't think, in some cases, something like that would chip off very easily. However, I don't think this is going to happen. The Magician. So you all know this deck if you have the first or the second edition, and I am this is not a walkthrough, this is literally just an unboxing and a first impression, even though I know the deck, so they can't really be first impressions now, can they? So I'm just gonna go through, wow, I'm just gonna go through them quickly, because I really wanted to show the card, but also want to show you the couple of decks that I have that I think will pair up really well with this tarot. And also I want to see the cards from the Oracle, because I've actually never owned the Oracle, so that's really new for me. So by the way, the quality is exceptionally good. So this is a very sturdy cardstock. I think, what was it saying, 350 GSM. So there's also, the finish is matte, which is very good. It has a kind of a silky feel to it, if you do like that, for example. Now I have to say, my Crimson Asteria came with a lot of smudges from the print, which was very easy to remove, so I had no trouble with that. I think it was because of the, perhaps sometimes, you know, they just pack immediately after printing and not all of the ink has dried up. Look at the colors. I mean, it's amazing. I love this color palette. It's, you know, 5 or 6 colors, but they are they're not clashing, they're actually complementary, they're very beautiful. It gives you this sort of fall kind of atmosphere, autumn kind of atmosphere. But this is a deck that can be used year-round. I don't mean to say by fall, I don't mean to say that you can only use it in the fall. It's a year-round deck, and it's a very versatile deck too. And as I said, when you find the right oracle to pair it with, it actually feels like a very sharpshooter. It reads really well, and I'm so very happy. So, can you tell? So as you can see, it's very straightforward. It's not difficult to you know, to see this is the Five of Swords, etc. And this is the Six of Swords, as we've seen before. That was one of the reasons why I felt confident that I would not have needed, you know, the titles when I've actually trimmed off the second edition that I used to have. I mean, I still have it. Queen of Swords, King of Swords. Okay. Now it's got a really nice matte black gilding, as you can see. But this was the tarot deck, and now let's have a look at how many cards was there again. 27 oracle cards. So we've got Prudence Oracle. Wow. Hope, a new path. Look how beautiful these images are, as within, so without. Channeling, childhood trauma. Oh my goodness. Oh, I knew that this was a very strong and intense kind of deck. Faceless in Judgment. Whoa, okay. It is indeed a very intuitive kind of oracle, and it's very intense. I mean, some of the cards are very moving. But that's what I like in a deck. I mean, oh gee, okay, drowning. I mean, it needs to do something with your feelings, doesn't it? Energy Vampire. Oh, I love this guy. I know a couple of persons like that. My goodness, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if I pulled that card a couple of times. It goes with the, you know, it goes with the job. when you're an empath and you know you want to help people, of course you find someone that takes advantage of that. But Temptation, that is, I don't know which cards have been chosen. I honestly don't know if all of these cards, because I don't have the Mercury, Salt and Sulfur, I don't know whether they've taken 27 cards out of that deck, or there's perhaps some cards out of that deck and some new cards in. To be honest with you, it was explained in the Kickstarter page, but I don't remember. Yeah, Mercury, Salt and Sulfur. So all the alchemical symbols. And this card, as I said, it's blood red. It's absolutely gorgeous. So this is the Oracle. Now, what I'm going to do, well, first of all, let me just shuffle to see. Oh, this shuffles really well. Oh, it's really, really good. Like it slides really well. There's absolutely no friction between the cards. It doesn't feel like you have to force it. It's not slippery either. Like you don't have to hike around the room to pick up the cards. Yeah, it feels very good. It feels very nice to the touch. I like it. I really like it. What I'm going to do is the usual. I'm just gonna put the, there you go, the Oracle. Now I'm gonna need more room here. Okay, the Oracle in the middle, and then let me just shuffle the tarot. Okay, so first of all, I want to use the Oracle cards that come with the deck. Simply because it is the obvious choice for an oracle, because obviously it's the same author, so you know, same art style, same color palette. Okay, so we've got empathy between the Three of Swords and the Page of Cups, okay? Yes, the Page of Cups is the archetype for the empath. So obviously when we find ourselves in a situation in which we're overthinking, we're over-worrying, we also need to realize, so for an empath, the most important thing is to realize that some of our feelings are projected from others onto us. I find that almost every day. It is difficult to isolate what my feelings, emotion, fears, hopes are, as opposed to the ones that are projected onto me by the people around me, because I tend to absorb everything. And that to me speaks, speaks loudly, because I need to separate that, and in order to, basically in order also to do a good job, because otherwise you cannot be helping people if you cannot separate your feelings from theirs. The childhood trauma, I knew this guy would have come between the Six of Swords and the Page of Wands. This is turning out to be a very personal reading, but it doesn't matter. So obviously we're talking about the childhood trauma that perpetuates for the rest of your life. Many people are going through the process of detaching themselves and healing from childhood trauma. That's exactly what I do in my practice and with my clients. We go through that. I am personally going to start EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprogramming. It's something that it's not necessarily new as a therapy, and it comes from the science behind the cognitive behavioral therapy, except for cognitive behavioral therapy included also an exposure to something that is provoking your PTSD. Whereas EMDR is not supposed to linger too long on, feelings or memories or flashbacks or that, lead you to recreate the kind of fears and feelings you had been going through. It is something that is very promising, but I'm studying it. I'm doing it myself, and I'm also studying it as a type of therapy. I honestly don't know. So if any of you has any experience with EMDR, please let me know in the comments below, because I am very interested. I have already been speaking to something around 50 people, 40 to 50 people, and there is a really high success rate. I would say almost 90%. And the cases in which EMDR was not successful were related to an actual, reasonable, clear and present danger that continues on to the present. So if someone has had a trauma, but the trauma is perpetuating, so the facts that cause the trauma are still existing, EMDR is not going to desensitize the situation. So it's not effective, because if if someone has been assaulted and the person that perpetrated the assault is still free, and they could be assaulted again, obviously EMDR is not successful, because it's clear and present danger. Anyway, sorry about that. I went on a tangent, but I think it's, as a studying neuroscience is absolutely fantastic, and it opens up so many different ways to approach our mind. And my side of it is to look at possibilities that come from science and apply them to therapy. So childhood trauma, obviously there is that kind of work you have to do in order to heal the childhood trauma, and it feels like embarking upon a journey that you don't necessarily want to do, and it feels like the waters are choppy and it's very difficult. You're sad. You don't even look. You see, she's actually looking behind, because the direction is towards this way, but she's looking backwards because she's so traumatized she doesn't even want to look ahead. She is just frozen. And that's the main thing about childhood trauma. You feel frozen. Okay, you feel frozen in time, back to the time in which you went through the trauma. And by the way, only because it's called childhood trauma, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not traumatic when you're an adult. It just means that it started when you were a child. Because I wanted to specify that, because there's a lot of people saying, you know, but the traumatic event is still, you know, present, you know, years later. And obviously you need that kind of electric energy of the Page of Wands to do that. It may be helpful. And the Page of Wands to me is also the person who's a little bit naive. So the page always has less experience, and it's obviously referring back to the immaturity, but also the spontaneity of a child. So you need that in order to be able to look at things in a different way, and perhaps heal from that trauma. Channeling between the Five of Swords and the Knight of Wands. As within, so without, between the Ten of Cups and the Seven of Wands. Look how it's, I'm going to say something obvious here. The artwork is very similar. Duh, it's the same creator. But what I mean is that there's also a very similar kind of approach to the cards. There's a lot that goes on in the cards that can be related. So bridging these two together feels very natural. It doesn't always happen with, you know, a tarot and oracle deck by the same author. Sometimes they're completely different. So a new path between the Queen of Cups and the Five of Wands. Perhaps we need to use the mastering that we've achieved on our own personal feelings and emotions, you know, in a new way, in order to sort out all these fiery energy that is actually clashing with the people around us. Faceless judgment between the King of Cups and the Nine of Wands. That's absolutely right. I mean, I do feel that you need, when you reach the King status, when you reach the end of the court cards, your evolution is, it comes from achieving the master of your own skills. So the Queen of Cups is achieving, let's say, dominion over her own skills, but you're not ready yet to actually project them onto the community, onto the people around you, which is actually referring back to the king, the king's skills. The king is the person that has achieved that, but is now ready to give back to the community, which is very important. But I feel like, you know, there is some kind of faceless judgment that even when you achieve that, if you don't find cooperation, if you're not surrounding yourself with meaningful connection, there can be some kind of rejection from people around you, which will result in this kind of exhaustion that is represented by the Nine of Wands, and that in many cases is also some kind of an encouragement to be resilient and just, you know, keep on going. Herbal medicine. Perversion between Justice and the Four of Cups. There is so much going on. It feels like almost the same creature, as you can tell, between this creature and this creature. But then obviously this one is very similar to a devil card to me. So it makes me think about the devil. Luck Oracle between the Ace of Swords and the Seven of Cups. So, you know, thinking about preparing, luck is not just happening to you. You need to bring luck into your life, actively bring luck into your life. So plan for it, you know, have a strategy, and then luck will help you, because you can't just sit there and wait for it to happen. Oh, I'm just gonna sit here and wait for luck to happen in my life. So the Seven of Cups, I like the Seven of Cups in this case. The Seven of Cups is also not just referring back to the fact that we have a lot of choices and we're kind of stuck, but it's also referring back to daydreaming for me. Why? Because all of these cups are in the clouds. So it's almost as if we were thinking about, you know, the expression castle in the air. You know, you're building something in the air because it doesn't have any foundation. So all of these choices are, you know, it's fine to look at them, evaluate them and everything. But that's where you need to focus on a project. You need to focus on a strategy. You need to really be aware of what you're going to choose, because that's when you bring them back from the clouds onto the ground, and then you can start building something, actually building something, and not just thinking about building something. And again, luck just doesn't happen if you're not doing anything. So this is just so beautiful. Council between the Four of Wands and the Ace of Cups. And just the last one, drowning. Oh, I knew I would have pulled this card. So drowning before Temperance. Well, yes, there is water. And the King of Swords. Okay, well, that for me, the King of Swords is the archetype of the expert. It's the archetype of the scientist. It's almost as if that maturity, that resilience that you reach in with the Queen of Swords, because the Queen of Swords is the archetype of, you know, the no bullshit. Okay, it's the person that has seen everything, has been through everything, has reached resilience to the point that she's not letting go, and so she doesn't have time to listen to BS. Okay, she's done with that. She's been through that. I have the feeling that the evolution, that's the only suit for me in which the evolution from the Queen to the King is actually a bit too much. It's just a step too far into some kind of the element of air that could eventually signify a little bit of coldness. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the King of Swords is a cold person. I'm just saying that perhaps if there's a pure 100% King of Swords, yes, that could mean a cold person. So none of us is 100% just one archetype. Of course, we are a mix of at least two, but most likely even more of the court cards. And in this case, I just feel that there is that kind of airy energy of a pure King of Swords that has become probably too focused on the black and white of it all, to the point that this is, you know, working against him in such a way that there might be this feeling of drowning. So when you're drowning in water. The water or temperance. Temperance is about that kind of communication, that kind of going back and forth. And Temperance for me is a very positive card because it actually brings back a circle of life, in the sense that the back and forth within water is the completion of the cycle. However, Temperance is not the last card in the Fool's journey. So obviously stuff can still go wrong, and the fact that there is a lot of water in the Temperance card is reflected in the Drowning card. I have this feeling that the King of Swords is probably drowning in his own thoughts. So this is what I get from this, and I love, if you know me, if you watch my channel, you know how much I love when cards make me feel like I have to think, like I have to solve a puzzle, like I have to apply myself, like when they represent the challenge is something extremely interesting to me, and it's something that I really don't mind, you know, looking into. And there is something very satisfying about deciphering a riddle, and that's what, you know, these kind of pairings do for me. And reading in general, it's also really good for the brain, if I may say. My favorite thing about neuroplasticity is that it's something that if you keep on exercising your brain, you actually create active chances for you to avoid the myelinization of the gray matter. Again, something very technical that means simply that the brain doesn't work anymore. So let me just see what I pull with the Energy Vampire. Energy Vampire between the Star and the Five of Cups. That's very interesting because I feel like there's, you know, I have to step away from exactly that, from an Energy Vampire lately. And this, to me, the Star in this case is the healing. So I have the feeling that this card is reminding me that perhaps I was actually exaggerating. This is the Five of Cups is the crying of a spilled milk for me. In this case, so in some tarot deck, you will see the figure actually looking ahead, so looking towards a bridge and knowing that yes, something has spilled, of course, but there's still something that can, you know, that can be achieved, and there's the sun, and there's normally just there's blue skies ahead. So perhaps I was just focusing on what has been spilled, on the energy that I actually lost to this person that was really feasting on it, and I'm going towards some kind of healing of that kind of energy. So the last one, Mercury, Salt and Sulfur between the Emperor and the Queen of Pentacles. Wow, that's so beautiful. So let's have a look though at the pairings that I had in mind with a couple of different decks. So the first deck I want to pair it with, the first oracle, is the Or et Ombre, Oracle d'Alchimie Lunaire. Now this deck is obviously in French, as you can imagine, and it's a deck that I've actually been pairing before with the Solara Occulto, the second edition, and I know already that it pairs up really well. So yes, it is a French deck. I think I ordered it from Amazon France, I'm not entirely sure. For any of these decks, I will still make sure to put the link in the description box below. I don't know why these cards are actually reversed, because I certainly don't read reversals on oracles. It wouldn't make much sense now, would it? So let me just put them back. Okay, so it is in French, but it's not like I don't think it's difficult to understand. The art style is at least similar, let's say. The color palette also similar. Not in all the cards, as you can see, of course. The guidebook is very interesting. Now this deck is, wow, look at that. This looks like it's a very it could be the same author, it could be the same creator. I'm trying to remember whether it's difficult or not to actually use this deck. Again, this could be this is a very similar art style. That's what I'm trying to say. Wow, that's so beautiful. So it's not 100% straightforward when it comes to this deck. By the way, these are the backs. How beautiful are these backs? And these hands are actually embossed. I do have a thing for eyes. I can't really focus on that, but I love the hands. So you still need to go back to the guidebook. However, nowadays, honestly, I mean, with the Google Translator app, it's not that difficult, is it? Although sometimes I have to say that the app translates with a really odd kind of turn of phrases. Sometimes it's really like, no, that doesn't sound like that's what they mean at all. But it is very useful. Like, I've been using it whenever I've traveled, especially throughout Asia. I use it all the time and it's very useful. Wow, look at this. It is so very beautiful. I am so very happy that this pair up so well. So you obviously, you know, in this case it's mostly the aesthetics, but I have to say that when it comes to the energies, these two decks, I mean, this is obviously based on alchemy because it's an alchemical kind of oracle, and the tarot deck is, I think it's more, it's not exclusively feeling like it's an alchemical deck. I think it's very wholesome. You can actually feel also, you know, the traditional symbolism coming to the surface. Numerologically speaking, it's also very apt to be read that way. So in here we not just have the alchemical symbols, but we've got a lot of constellation, which makes it very interesting, and I highly recommend it. It's a mass market deck. It's just that I don't know whether you can find it on Amazon US. You can definitely find it on Amazon France because it is a publication from let me just see, Good Mood Dealer, which sounds English, but I can assure you it's a French publication. And it was 28 euros. Obviously you probably have to put the shipping cost on top of that. Anyway, really beautiful pair. It works really well. Obviously you need to dig into the guidebook for the oracle, but I don't actually mind doing that. And just another one that I have a hunch it could pair up well, but I'm not entirely sure because I haven't tried it yet, but let me see how it goes. So the mysterious deck I want to pair with is the Soul Mirror Oracle See Yourself by Sunshine Connolly. The artwork is by Anna Noves, and this is a Blue Angel publication. This is now available pretty much globally, I think. Blue Angel is Australian, and they favor Australia, the Australian market, which I am so very grateful for, because Rockpool is also Australian, but they release first in the US, so at least at the same time as Australia, but most of the time it's first in the US, then in Europe, and then eventually in Australia, which it's becoming a joke really, because I'm like, you know, I've heard people saying, you know, everyone has got the in bulk, the Seasons of the Witch in bulk edition all over the world except for Australia, which is where Rockpool is from. So we're like, guys, seriously, at least release it at the same time, because it's there is something about, you know, being an Australian company and this in Australia. It just doesn't make sense. Let's have a look at these two though. I think we're on the right path here. I think they actually pair up really well together. What do you think? I love this oracle deck. It's recently has been one of my favorite. I really think it does pair up really well. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. By the way, so sorry about the noise in the background. There's if you hear it, there's a lot of traffic today. I don't know why. Normally this place is so very quiet. I mean, look at this. This is so beautiful. It's, you know, relationships. I don't know if you know this deck, but the Soul Mirror. So you have, obviously you have the image on the card, and you have titles, and then you have two keywords, and the keywords are almost opposite in the sense that it's showing you one and the mirrored meaning of the title. So relationships could be distance or connected. You see what I mean? Perhaps if I show you more cards, it will become easier to explain. So destiny can be past or future focused or present. And let's see another one. Support can be discouraged or encouraged. So it's a mirror, the two sides of things, let's say. What do you think about this pairing? I think we're there. I think it's really good. I think it works. There's almost the same kind of color palette. Obviously the artwork is slightly different, but it's so very, it blends in. It's really beautiful. There are, you know, you can find echoes and resonances, like I like to call them, that create this really beautiful bridge of meanings between the cards. And even when the colors are not necessarily reflected in the cards, like for example, we got some really nice blues and pinks in here, which we don't have in the tarot cards, it still feels like it's blending in. It still feels like it's an integration rather than a separation. And I really like when the expressions on the characters on the cards is very similar, or it recalls each other. So we have the creatress with uninspired or creative between the Nine of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles. Obviously, the creatress in the Eight of Pentacles is the central figure. So you are creating something, because the Suit of Pentacles is the suit of the manual project. And this is very important. You need to understand when you reach the Eight of Pentacles, you need to double down on it, and you need to understand that you also need to be inspired by something. Otherwise, the result will be that you're just gonna keep on going on without necessarily knowing what you're doing, or you know, what is the reason behind everything that you're doing. I'm really interested to know your opinion. I personally think this really works, but you know, just let me know in the comments below. I'm really enjoying these two together. I think they really work. Some cards more than others, especially when there's a similarity in the color palette. But it's so beautiful, and I really like this oracle because it really gives you the opportunity to focus on a concept, elaborate on that, meditate on that. It also gives you possibilities to, you know, journal about it. And this is amazing because this figure looks as if it were almost the opposite of the hangman. So it's almost as if this person is launching themselves into the space, and you got the moon phases there. So it really brings about the concept of releasing yourself after the meditation or the sacrifice you are going through when you are the hanged man, you're the hanged person. There is a sense of liberation that comes from the oracle. That's so beautiful. The sense of sadness, you can be defensive or listening. In the Four of Swords, that's your state of mind. The Four of Swords, you're just exhausted after the Three of Swords, and you just need a break, because it's the kind of rest that you need after a debacle, after a crisis. And so it really tells you, okay, but you can give in to sadness. But sadness is not just to make you cry. And that is a result of being defensive. If you actually use sadness to listen to what your feelings are and why you feel that way, then you can actually master everything that is related to what has happened to you and reach the status of the king. So project it onto others and start helping back in the community. I love that, you know, when there's elements that repeat themselves into the cards, it's just a really happy coincidence, and I really like it. So again, really in love with these decks, all of them together and separately. I'm so very happy that I received this deck today and that I'm able to film this for you. I'm probably gonna post it tomorrow. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you did you back the Solara Occulto Meliora? You know, do you find it, do you like it? Did you have the previous edition? Do you prefer this one? I'm expecting there'll be a lot of comparison videos. I wouldn't do it because, look at the wings, so beautiful. I wouldn't do a comparison because my copy has been trimmed on the original Solara Occulto, so it wouldn't make any sense because it looks exactly like this. So really curious to hear from you guys. What do you think about this deck? I personally am very, very happy about it. That was it for today. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end of this video. More to come. Have a great day.